Hello and good morning. Happy Saturday, everyone. My name is Nick Marro with Occupy Fantasy. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. I'm here today to help you break down this four-game NBA DFS slate for both DraftKings and FanDuel. Only four games tonight in the NBA. Slate doesn't lock until 8 p.m., so just keep that in mind. If you haven't already liked the video, please do. Also, click subscribe. That helps us climb up these YouTube algorithms and get you more free content. Additionally, if you're not already a member at Occupy Fantasy, I highly recommend you come and join us today. Links are in the description below to sign up. Yeah, you get access to the model you see here, not only for NBA, but the other major sports as well, where you can sort by value for both DraftKings and FanDuel. OF Index, which is just going to show you the flat out best plays on a given slate. You can sort by ownership as well. We also have a lineup builder to help you build both single lineups as well as multi enter. We have a Discord server where we have DFS experts there almost 24/7 to help you with your contest selection and building lineups. But there is always a 30-minute window leading up into lock where we have someone there to help you answer lineup specific questions, slate specific questions, everything like that. So without further ado, let's get into the slate. I'm going to be on both DraftKings and FanDuel. Obviously, I'm going to click between the two. I know we have viewers who have a preference for either. Only four-game slate, so I'm going to go game by game. It should be rather easy to get through this fairly quickly. Um, but again, slate doesn't lock until 8 p.m., so keep an eye out on news throughout the day. Obviously, the model is going to update as we get more of that injury news, and also if you're in the Discord, we have folks in there who could certainly help you process that information. Okay, so let's get right into the slate. First game on the slate, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are 6.5 point favorites at home. We have a nice 231.5 point total here, so pretty good game environment. Looking at the injury report, first and foremost, the Timberwolves are going to be without Karl Anthony Towns again. He should be out for several weeks. It looks like Torian Prince is going to be out as well, and Jordan McLaughlin is questionable. So, first and foremost, we could kind of go team by team. And yeah, with Karl Anthony Towns out of the lineup, he usually absorbs most of the usage for the Timberwolves. That's going to make all these other big names look better. That is Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and D'Angelo Russell. So Anthony Edwards, he looked great last time out. I mean, whenever he's getting extra usage, he's always willing to take the shots. He's got a 50 fantasy point ceiling. I like him at 8,600 on DraftKings, and then at 8,600 on FanDuel. So I don't know who's copying who, but we have seen a lot of similar prices between the sites this year. Makes things easy on me as someone who plays on both sites, but when you do get discrepancies between the two, you can kind of pick and choose where you take your stance. So Rudy Gobert is coming off a terrible game. I think everyone thought he'd be a lot better with Cat out of the lineup. We really haven't seen that yet. I like him in tournaments here. I don't think many people are going to want to go there, but obviously he should see a boost moving forward with Cat out. He's just been playing pretty terribly, so not someone you need to rush to get to, but I do think in tournaments, especially on DK where he's sub 7K, he's someone who's going to be appealing. D'Angelo Russell, 6,800, I think on both sites. Yep. Very scoring dependent as a guard, but with the extra usage he's getting with Cat out of the lineup, he's going to be appealing. Torian Prince being out of the lineup kind of secures the minutes for Kyle Anderson and Jaden McDaniels. I do think Anderson is the safer play. Maybe McDaniels has the higher ceiling. He was actually out last game, so we haven't. Oh no, he played a few minutes. But he's way riskier. Like the minutes aren't secure for him. I think Anderson, as long as he starts, is going to be one of the better value plays on the slate. And then the McLaughlin news may not seem like it matters much, but it does. If he's out, Jalen Noel is going to look excellent here again. Even if he's in, I don't mind Noel as kind of a like GPP punt play, but if McLaughlin is out and he gets those extra minutes, Nolan's probably one of my favorite value plays on the short slate. So definitely keep an eye on that. He's up to 5-1 over on FanDuel. Still only 4,300 on DK though. We saw him go over 30 minutes, I think, for the first time this season last time out with McLaughlin out. So certainly keep an eye on that. Pushing 40 fantasy points. So even at 5K, I think he's valuable and viable. But yeah, really like Minnesota here. OKC, obviously not the best defensive team. Plenty to like for sure. Taking a quick look over to the model, obviously Anthony Edwards popping towards the top. No surprise there. We're seeing D'Angelo Russell, McDaniels, Gobert. But yeah, it's a short slate, so almost everyone's going to make their way to the top. But no surprise here with Kyle Anderson drawing more ownership than McDaniels. But like I said, McDaniels may have the higher ceiling. You're just taking a major risk in rostering him there. And then Noah looks like he's getting a ton of ownership again on DK. No surprise to me there. But yeah, I really like Minnesota. They're going to be one of my favorite teams on the slate. Only 6.5 point spread, so we don't have to worry too much about a blowout here. Then over on the OKC side, we are seeing Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as questionable. I think it's a hip injury. I don't know how serious it is. Obviously, the Thunder are one of the teams looking to tank this season, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's good to go. It's just something we have to keep an eye on. Luckily for us, it's the first game on the slate, so we will have that news before lock. If SGA is out, Josh Giddey once again becomes probably the best play on the slate. I mean, he's up to 7,500 on FanDuel. 7,500 on DK as well. Again, I don't know who's copying who here. Um, but yeah, that's a reasonable price with SJ out of the lineup. If SGA is in, I don't necessarily want to play that freight. I think his ownership will be down, so he's appealing for that reason. But at the same time, he's priced as if SGA is likely to be out of the lineup. So keep an eye on that. Other pieces for OKC, no Mike Muscala. I don't think that really changes anything. Um, but yeah, I mean, if SGA is out, I don't mind Dort. Jalen Williams has looked good. As long as he's in the starting lineup, I think he's fine. Pokachevsky on a short slate, he has some tournament appeal. His minutes have fluctuated, as have Robinson Earls this season. So it's really tough to trust these starters outside of SGA if he's in or Giddey if he's out. But yeah, if SGA is out, I will go to guys like Dort and Williams with a lot more comfort. Trey Mann, if he starts in the absence of SGA, would be a viable value play. But I would prefer Noel, I will say, if McLaughlin's out for Minnesota. So again, a really good game environment here. The SGA news is going to be pivotal. Keep an eye on that, and also keep an eye on the starting lineup. They tend to mix things up, like they're trying different combinations of guys. Like if Baisley slides in at mid price on DK, he's going to have some appeal. Same with Wiggins, Williams, etc. Not crazy about any of these guys as individual plays, but if they start on a short slate where we're lacking value, they're going to have some appeal. All right, so let's move into the next game. We have the Orlando Magic at the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are 10.5 point favorites at home, hosting Orlando. Both these teams on a back-to-back. Toronto got pretty much blown out by the Nets last night. Magic, I don't recall exactly who they played. Sorry, there were 13 games. Yeah, Cleveland. They played Cleveland. I think it was closer than people expected. We did see Banchero push 37 minutes. But yeah, to my chagrin, neither of these teams seem to have released their injury report yet today. So just kind of going off the TK tags here, it looks like Wendell Carter Jr. is still out. Jalen Suggs is still out. Mo Bamba was out yesterday. I don't know if he's going to be out again today. If he is, that does create more minutes for Bol Bol. We actually saw both Wagner brothers in the starting lineup last night. Fran's the much better player, but Mo's a lot cheaper on both sites. So you could go to Mo Wagner as value. I was surprised with how low he was on FanDuel actually yesterday. He barely got to value. I had a few shares of him. But yeah, at 4,200, if he's going to start and they're thin in the front court, I think he's safe probably even in a blowout. So I do like Wagner. Banchero, certainly one of the more talented players on this roster. I like him a lot here. And then Bol Bol is fine regardless, but if Bomb is out, he's going to be a lot safer. So keep an eye on that piece. Jalen Suggs looks like he's still going to be out. I don't know if we can count on that yet. Again, still no injury report from Orlando. But Cole Anthony and Fultz both just came back from injury. It wouldn't surprise me to see either or rested on the back-to-back, in which case the other would become more appealing. Um, yeah, Fultz got almost 30 minutes last time out. That's a good sign. But again, they're not going to rush these guys back from injury. It's not like Orlando's really competing for a playoff spot or anything. So keep an eye on the injury report there. If they were both out, maybe we go to someone like R.J. Hampton or Gary Harris. Looks like Harris has a hamstring injury too, though, so probably not. But again, keep an eye on that starting lineup. It's unfortunate we don't have any of that injury news yet. But sorting by value, we're really not seeing much Orlando. It's because I think we have everyone in as things stand. But again, if Mo Wagner starts and we're missing Mo Bamba, um, yeah, one Mo for the other. I think we're gonna we're gonna get to some Wagner there. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm never crazy about Orlando. It's just tough outside of Banchero to really trust any of these guys. Bull always has a high ceiling, but he's been extremely inconsistent. Then over on the Raptors side, they're one of these teams with a lot of talent, but it's tough to know who to play on a given night. Siakam, Anunoby, Barnes, Trent. I don't like Trent at all. I do want to say that. He seems to be falling out of the rotation. Nick Nurse has made several comments about how he doesn't know if he's a good fit with his team anymore. He has had some decent games, but I don't know. I just feel like avoiding him until it seems like he's starting consistently again. Um, Excuse me. But yeah, with Prentice Achua likely out, I do think we could maybe go to Thad Young if he starts. He only played 4 games against Brooklyn. I'm wondering if that's by design and they're saving him for tonight. So just keep an eye on that. If he doesn't start, I wouldn't even consider it. Maybe Chris Boucher slides into the starting lineup if one of these guys are rested on the back-to-back. But it's, again, really tough to say. It's unfortunate we don't have the injury report yet. Sorting by index. Da, da, da. Yeah, we're seeing Siakam popping towards the top. No surprise there. He is probably my favorite Raptor play on either site in terms of upside. I do really like Van Fleet 7,200 on DK, though. I know he hasn't been getting there recently, um, but he's the type of player, I mean, he has a 40, 50 fantasy point ceiling in him. So maybe he gets to that here against a soft defense. But as it stands, no priorities for me on Toronto. Again, I wish we had the injury report, which segues into our next game where we don't have an injury report yet. The Houston Rockets at the Golden State Warriors. We're looking at a 9.5 point spread for the Warriors as home favorites with a 232.5 point total. Da, 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 da. Yeah, so up at the top, we have Stephen Curry, who's arguably the best pay up on the slate. He's been really solid this season, hitting his shots, taking more shots. The minutes have been there. Really soft matchup defensively. I guess there's some blowout risk here. I'm not necessarily afraid of it as it's an under 10 point spread. That's kind of my threshold for gauging concern. And really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's tough to quantify blowouts. So more often than not, you're better to just not even think that way, especially on a short slate like this. On a larger slate, maybe that gives you pause and reason to maybe avoid some of the payups for Golden State. But on a short slate like this, I do think they're all in play. But yeah, the issue again, we really don't have any injury news yet for them. They've yet to release their report. But it looks like everyone's healthy except for Iguodala. So, I mean, whoever starts is fine. Don't mind Looney as a punt. Not crazy about him. Clay, very scoring dependent, very high ceiling, very low floor. Good tournament play for that reason. I like Draymond's price on DK. I think he's fine. Same with Wiggins. But I wouldn't want like 2 or 3 of these guys in any one lineup. Or 2's fine, certainly. 3, I don't mind. But yeah, if you're paying for 3 starters from Golden State, you're probably going to want to make sure you're running things back with Houston. I usually don't believe in game stacking for NBA, but on short slate like this, you can maybe get away with it if one of the 4 games goes to OT and you load up on it. That's certainly an advantage over the rest of the field. Not a very high likely outcome in terms of odds, but it is a way to get different on a short slate. Over on the Houston side, we're seeing Tate still out. No surprise there. Porter and Green both look fine up top. I do like Sengun a lot as a GPP center. Minutes have fluctuated a bit, but he's shown a massive ceiling when they do run the offense through him. Nikola Jokic, fellow European center, said, hey, I don't know why Houston doesn't run the offense through this guy. I think a big part of that might be because they're tanking. But yeah, I like him here. Solid play at a reasonable price. Even better on DK at 6,200. But like I said, Porter and Suggs are both fine. I don't think we have to force in either. Jabari Smith's okay in tournaments. Eric Gordon, not crazy about him. He had a good first half last night and kind of disappeared. So yeah, no real value on Houston. Just quickly checking the model to see if anything's up there. Yeah, Porter, Green towards the top in terms of OF index. I see Sengun there as well. DK value, nothing popping yet. But again, another team with no injury report out yet. Like I said, though, on the Golden State side, Steph is probably one of the better pay-ups on the slate. I could see starting most builds with him here and feeling pretty good about it. So cruising right along, we got the last game on the board tonight. The Portland Trail Blazers are taking on the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are 4-point favorites at home. We have the Blazers injury report here, so thank you to them. Josh Hart is doubtful. Keon Johnson, Dame Lillard, Nasir Little, Gary Payton all out. Drew Eubanks questionable. So Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant step right up. They're both going to be solid plays here. I like them both on both sites. Yusuf Nurkic at 6,500 on FanDuel. That's a really favorable price for a center. I do like him here. 67 on DK looks good there as well. 7,700 for Jeremy Grant. Man, that's a great price. I do like him, especially on DK. Uh, Keep an eye on Justice Winslow. As long as he's in that starting lineup, I think he's a solid option. I think if Josh Hart miraculously comes back, he would fall out of that starting lineup. So, yeah, Hart's doubtful as it stands. So I do think we could use Justice Winslow as a value piece. But yeah, Simons and Grant are certainly the priorities. I don't mind Shady and Sharp if he starts. Very boom bust as a guard, but he does have a high ceiling. Then with Eubanks out, maybe we see more Trendon Wofford again. He finally had a good game, played 30 minutes, 21 fantasy points against the Lakers. I think he's okay. He's in play. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the game log's missing some games on him. Yeah, he hasn't played since the 30th. Is that just Portland that hasn't played since the 30th? But yeah, I mean, if Watford is going to get minutes with Eubanks out, I think he's a decent punt. Really not someone you have to prioritize, though. Again, the priorities for the Trailblazers are going to be Simons and Grant. Nurkic as well, really strong play. Over on Utah, last night this team killed me. Definitely cost me some good money. Clarkson did not really live up to expectations. Neither did Olynyk, neither did Sexton. But I'm thinking the field's going to feel that um, maybe they don't want to go back there for that reason. Recency bias is definitely a thing in NBA DFS. And those three are all priced favorably on both sites. Um, so I do really like Clarkson. I do really like Sexton, and I do really like Kelly Olynyk. It's just going to be a question of, yeah, as long as they all start, I imagine they do. It is a back-to-back, but I don't know. One really interesting play, Walker Kessler here. This kid seems pretty talented. He gets you blocks and steals. He had a 40 fantasy point game last night, which is pretty remarkable in only 25 minutes. If you're looking for a punt, I think Kessler is okay. I wouldn't say he's safe. He's certainly not safe, but he's so cheap that if he gets in there for 10 minutes and gets you 20 fantasy points, that could help you win a slate tonight. So, yeah, the Jazz look good here. Did I mention the total? 227.5 point total is pretty solid. Not quite on the same level as the Warriors or the Thunder games, but another good game environment. So just to wrap things up, I will click back over here. We're seeing Grant Tops pop towards the top, as is Anthony Simons and Yusuf Nurkic. No surprises. Lauri Markkanen, there's a guy I forgot to mention. He's been the best player actually for Utah, so it's kind of good. I'm double checking here on the model. I do think he's a strong play on both sites. But yeah, we're seeing Clarkson popping an OF index. In terms of value, Watford, who we talked about on Portland, does look good as it stands. Getting ownership on both sites. That is as long as Eubanks is out, so definitely keep an eye on that. Um, but yeah, Jared Vanderbilt, he's been getting some love. Not someone I'm crazy about. He kind of needs a lot of blocks and rebounds to get there. Not someone I'm chasing in particular, but on a short slate, I am more apt to get to someone like that. Then over on FanDuel, same deal. Trendon Watford, very popular as things stand. So he's going to be in play. But yeah, Grant and Simons are the priorities here. If we're talking like my favorite payups on the slate, it is going to be Curry and then probably Anthony Edwards second. If SGA is in, I mean, I don't know. I like him as much, if not more than Curry. Curry's just going to draw more ownership. SGA is the same ceiling, if not higher. So really like both of those guards. In the front court, I mean, Siakam's very expensive. I don't think you have to prioritize him. I'd rather get to Jeremy Grant for a discount. I think he's just as good, if not better, in terms of raw points, and you're getting him a whole lot cheaper. So once again, my name is Nick Marro with Occupy Fantasy. You can find me on Twitter at Nick Marro DFS. Feel free to reach out and say hi. And then, yeah, please like this video. Also subscribe to the channel. Help us get more of this free content to you. If you're not already a member at Occupy Fantasy, check the links below. You get access to the model here. You get access to our lineup builder, Discord channel, access to our experts. And yeah, if you're in there, my name in the Discord's Nick M999. Just say, hey, what's up? And happy to talk DFS with you. But yeah, guys, another fun Saturday slate. Remember, it doesn't lock until 8 p.m. tonight. Waiting on a lot of injury reports, so keep an eye on the news throughout the day. But yeah, looking forward to it. I think we should have a good one here. Uh, um, have fun and good luck.